let's just say that the abdomen, there's no trauma. There's no trauma in the chest. You'd mentioned the heart. I'd like to know if the lungs were contused at all.
So if you go to the bottom of this page, and I guess Steve can pull it up.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, we're back. So we just left off after we went through all the process of what you would take out internally, the lungs, weighing all that, and our timeline. Where were we at with the timeline now, Baron?
I think we thought around 10 o'clock the Y cut would start, give or take, based on the timeline. Not holding anyone to it, but just guessing.
Right.
Okay, ballpark 10 o'clock. Now what?
Yeah, so at this point, after you're done with the thorax, essentially, all the organs of the chest, the abdomen are removed and weighed. Each organ is dissected. Okay, and they're going to take samples of every organ, and it's going to go into preservative. So they've held everything. They've got sections of bowel, reproductive organs, bladder, the whole 9 yards, heart, lungs, liver, everything. Now comes the really detailed part, okay? Because all you have left are the head and neck, and in this case, you're in the sweet spot here.
So before we get to head and neck, how long does the abdomen take?
Oh, the abdomen itself, I don't know. I've been involved in autopsies. That the autopsy itself, and I'm talking about the actual prosection of remains. Once you get in, and this is after you've got up and running and you're working, right? Less than an hour.
Okay,
and that's and again, this is all dependent upon what type of trauma you're talking about. So if you're going in, you've got somebody that's got multiple gunshot wounds all over their body, that ain't going to take you an hour. It's going to take you hours, okay? Because you're going to have to track every one of those wounds. And you're going to do trajectories through all of those wounds. And you have to make note of what organ systems and what vessels are impacted by each one of those wounds. And that's just kind of an over-the-top example. Motor vehicle accidents take a long time many times because you've got so much trauma. But if you're talking about a single, let's just say that the abdomen, there's no trauma. There's no trauma in the chest. You'd mentioned the heart. I'd like to know if the lungs were contused at all.
So if you go to the bottom of this page, and I guess Steve can pull it up, that paragraph there, and it'll spill over onto the top of page 3. That's the descriptions from the medical examination.
What document is this, Baron, we have?
This is the state's summation of the preliminary hearing.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, so this bottom paragraph is what you're talking about?
Yeah, and it rolls over on the top of page 3.
Okay, so it says the bullet, or at least parts of it, quote, sequentially perforated the anterior left side of Mr. Kirk's neck, strap muscles of the left side of the neck, and the left common carotid, and left internal and external jugular veins, unquote, states examination 11 ST3. The bullet also, quote, obliterated the left side of the C2 to 7 vertebrae and transected the cervical spinal cord, unquote, ID. The medical examiner observed that, quote, a significant portion of Mr. Kirk's cervical spinal cord was traumatically absent, unquote, ID at 3-4. Mr. Kirk suffered other severe injuries, including, quote, bilateral, apical, and posterior intercostal hemorrhages, pulmonary apical hemorrhages / hematomas, and multiple disruptions of the thyroid, cricoid, and tracheal cartilages, ID at 3. The medical examiner also observed hemorrhaging around Mr. Kirk's heart, hemopericardium, both of his lungs, quote, left and right hemothorax, unquote, and the subarachnoid space around the, quote, cerebellar vermis and the parietal regions, unquote, of Mr. Kirk's brain, ID at 3-4.
Wow. Okay, so the last part's pretty impressive because you're talking about the cerebellum, which is the base back here. You've kind of got the base of the brain. He's talking about the vermis there and the parietal region. So parietal is lateral. So this is your temporal area. Okay. Parietal, some people call it parietal, is right here. Okay. So you've got hemorrhage that's extending up into here. And you've also got Let me see. Didn't say anything about the occiput, which the occiput is probably going to involve the cerebellum. So back here, okay. So all of this is impacted again.
When you say impacted, what do you mean?
Well, it's impacted by this concussive event, where you've got the concussion of this round, unless, because what we don't see here is any further, they're just using the term, well, they're using the term disruptions. The medical examiner also observed hemorrhaging around hemopericardium. So hemopericardium means that he had blood surrounding the heart. People might think, well, of course you have. No, you don't. You have blood inside the heart. So this kind of traumatic event, both lungs, left and right.
What does that
hemothorax
suggest? If it was surrounding the heart, what does that suggest?
Means
to you?
that this could be as a result of heroic measures that were being done. By doing compressions, perhaps. Hemothorax. You got blood in the chest. You've got subarachnoid space. There's a lot going on here and again, they don't, because they didn't have the ME come up to the stand in the preliminary,
correct,
which was
strange.
Yeah, kind of was. I would have preferred, from my perspective, because that's kind of the area that I dance in, the medical legal area. I wanted, but they just kind of, what do you guys call it? Admitted the autopsy report without further comment.
The only evidence we had of a dead body was a cop reading the conclusion of the ME's report.
Yeah. So,
is there a reason why they might hold back their hand completely in this case?
Well, I don't know. I think
trial?
I got to thinking about this the other day, tooling around, and I was thinking, why didn't they call the ME? And they, there were those multiple stoppages along the way when they were they would either shut the thing down or, of course they had sidebars and whatnot, but there are certain things that they wouldn't show and talk about. Everything that the ME is going to talk about is going to be considered to be prejudicial, I think, from a traumatic standpoint.
Not in a preliminary hearing.
Yeah, I know, but if there was any kind of, and again, this is not my area. All right, I'm just saying, trying to think like the judge. If there's anything prejudicial that's going to impact the pool at all, the pool of potential jurors. And I'm just kind of spitballing. I've covered enough trials, though, live coverage on Court TV and Law and Crime, where we do, and I've seen them hold stuff back relative to MEs before because they view it. But again, we have to contextualize this and say this is a preliminary hearing. But I'm trying to think ahead and think, why would the judge not compel them to have, the ME come to the stand, which I find, fascinating. So
yeah, nobody testified who saw a dead body.
Yeah.
Not one person.
Yeah. So, and again, I don't know if that just goes to prejudice, and I mean prejudice in the sense of the pool.
Hard to have a murder without a dead body.
Yeah, corpus delicti. There you go. So, I love saying that. By the way, it makes me feel very lawyerly, even though I'm not.
It feels very highbrow.
It does. Back to our dissection.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a lot of injuries there. And this is even further evidence of, in my opinion, this is where they would have spent the most time. Okay, so they're going to be doing what's referred to as a layered dissection. I mean, layer by layer before they ever begin to remove anything. So all of the structures in the neck, they're going to gently kind of reflect all of these surfaces down. They talked about the strap muscles, for instance. If you don't know what the strap muscles are, it's something we examine. We pay particularly close attention to these in cases of asphyxia, like strangulation. They're kind of these crisscross muscle structures that are in here, and like when somebody is grabbed, you'll see focal areas of hemorrhage in there. Can you roll back up to the strap muscles? I thought that I'd seen them mentioned. I wasn't sure.
Where he says the common carotid, left
carotid.
internal,
Mm-hmm.
Carotid, sorry.
That's okay.
Left internal, external jugular.
Yeah, so that top line strap muscles. Okay, so the bullet, or at least parts of it, sequentially perforated the anterior left side of the neck and strap muscles. So right through here, and then it passes through these muscular structures on the left aspect. So they're seeing focal areas of hemorrhage in here, and you would have hemorrhage.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.